What's up, everybody? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another episode of What's Spinning. This time I'm just going to be showing some stuff that's been spinning in the car over the last few months, spinning around the house. So let's just jump into it. First up, this is one that I'm amazed I've never owned. This is one of my all-time favorite bands. And I think one of the main reasons that I've never bought this is because I had the box set that pretty much had all the material from this album on there. But this is Alice in Chains Live. Really killer album. It's I believe it's split up between a couple of different shows, with the last 3 or 4 tracks being from Alice in Chains' Lane Staley's final shows with the band. Really killer album. One of the coolest things on here is Queen of the Rodeo, which is a song, again, it was in that box set. It's a song I love. It's a song that you couldn't release today because it's not politically correct. But it's a song that I've always really liked from them. So to have it as part of this package is really cool. And I think that part of the album was actually recorded live in Texas, if I remember correctly. But also, for those of you that weren't able to get the double 7-inch that came out for Record Store Day, I know a lot of people were complaining about that. I believe 3 of the 4 tracks are on here, and it's those last couple tracks that were from his final show or final shows. So very cool, and it's one that I highly recommend, along with any other Alice in Chains, actually. Next up, this is one I was really surprised to run across because it was never released in the U.S., and even in Canada, where this band is from, it was a very limited release. But I happened across this in a used CD store for $3. And this is the Get Up EP from Helix. Really good EP. Helix is still putting out great music. I kind of wrote them off after their 80s albums and just kind of never looked at anything else that they released. And SMF Captain Howdy let me know that their stuff that they're still releasing is really good. So when I ran across this, I couldn't grab it fast enough. And then I opened it up and I saw that it's signed by Brian Vollmer, which is even cooler. So to find, a rare CD here in the U.S. where it was never released and signed by Brian Vollmer, just really cool. Next up, I don't remember who I got this from. I think somebody on Facebook was selling a bunch of CDs for like $2 or $3 a piece. And this is one that I've been missing from the Mortification collection, so I jumped all over it. This is Triumph of Mercy. This is one of those, what's the easiest way to put it? This is one of those bands, or one of those albums that could have been great, but it was just killed by the production. The production on this album is terrible, and I don't know if this is one of the early ones that Steve Rowe produced himself, or if he brought in a new producer, or what the deal is. But the bass is really far forward in the mix, as are the vocals, which make me wonder if it was Steve that produced it, because he's the bassist and the vocalist. But it just kind of destroys the rest of the album, which is sad because there's some really good songs on here. This is probably the most personal album that he had done, because this he wrote this shortly after his going through cancer, and shortly after beating cancer, and he really talks about that in this album. So really personal stuff, and there's just some great songs on here, and they're just completely ruined by the production. This is one that I would love to see one of these labels, whether it be Rocks or I can't think of the label in Europe right now that's released. Who is it? Yeah, Soundmass, who's reissuing some of their earlier stuff. I would love to see Soundmass or Rocks get a hold of the master tapes from this album and re-edit it or remaster it, because this could be a really great album if that were done. Still worth a listen. Again, these are some great songs. it's just hard to listen to because the mastering is so bad. Next up, so I'm about to show Iron Maiden. This is just Iron Maiden Power Slave CD. I'm sure most of you have it. What makes this special is it's one of the Castle 2 CD editions of the album. These things go for crazy money now. They go for like $25, $30, $35 if you can find them. And they're really cool. I was lucky enough to find this one for $5. I've been on the lookout for these for years. I just don't want to pay $25, $30 for an Iron Maiden CD. But what makes these special is they're all 2 discs. So here's the front cover. You've got your back cover. Pretty normal stuff. Then you open it up and here's the main CD, which I love. It's got the Aces High 12-inch artwork on it. And then you flip it over and there's a bonus disc. And I think that's the... is that the... I can't remember which one that's for. 2 Minutes to Midnight single, I think, is that where that artwork is from. But each of these have this bonus disc. And the bonus discs are cool because the bonus discs take all of the 12 inches, or the singles, they had 7 inches as well, but it takes all of the B-sides that were never released on an album and puts them on an additional disc. So you've basically got the entire Power Slave and then all the B-sides on this separate disc. And all the Castle releases are like this. And like I said, they're really hard to find and they're really expensive when you find them. I found this at that same record store I found the Helix. It's actually one of my favorite record and CD shops because they get really rare stuff like this and they don't jack up the prices like everybody else does. Actually, I just found a CD that regularly goes, and I'll show it in a later update, that regularly goes to from $50 to $75, and I paid $4.99 for it because they don't care. For CDs, they sell them all for the same price. Unless it's a Japanese release or a mini LP, those they'll sell for a few more bucks. But just average CDs, no matter what they go for on the internet or what they're selling for in other stores, they sell them for $5.99, $6.99. So, really good store. Anyway, next up, I just ran across this one a couple days ago. I've always loved this band. And even though I've got all of these songs in multiple formats and across multiple albums, I had never seen this particular comp, so I went ahead and got it. This is Dokken, Alone Again, and it's basically just a hits collection. Next up, this is a band that I've known about for years, and I've just never got into. I'm not into most of the core music, whether it's post-hardcore, metalcore. I do like original metalcore, and what I mean by metalcore is, you know, when metalcore first came out, it was more of, you had crossover, you had thrashcore, and you had metalcore. Metalcore was more the bands like Hatebreed, and then it turned into something else when Screamo came out, and all these bands with the crazy breakdowns. This band is considered deathcore, but I think that they're a much better band than that. They're more of a straight-up death metal band, maybe more of a technical death band, but I really dig this. I found this for like $3, so I decided to check it out, and I was really got into it. Now I want to get the rest of their stuff, but this is Baptized in Filth from Impending Doom. And, I mean, these guys are really technical, and they just do a great job. Really heavy, really thick, and really enjoyable. I definitely recommend checking them out. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and go with this one. So, this is a band, I bought it because the album looked like a metal album. And it turns out it is. It's Power Trip Pigs from the band Speed. And Speed's got a couple of guys from Annihilator. It's and man, let me see if I can find this. Give me a sec. So you've got Aaron Randall, who was the vocalist for Annihilator during the 90s, I believe. The early to mid 90s. And then on drums, you've got Ray Hartman, who was the original drummer from the original drummer from Annihilator. This is a decent album. It's not great. It's not a favorite of mine. It's not bad. It's just really good, straight up metal. What really sets this apart is the vocals on here. A lot of people, especially hardcore Annihilator fans, weren't fans of his vocals in Annihilator. However, on this album, his vocals are amazing. Had he gone with these vocals on Annihilator, he would still be in the band. It's really weird. He's got a really cool, really aggressive vocal on here, and that's kind of what the real standout of this album. So it was definitely a cool pickup and definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an Annihilator fan. But again, this is Speed. I don't know why they felt like they needed an extra E, so I guess it's Speed. But next up, I ran across these for like $6, which shocked me because they just came out. These are the deluxe editions that were released, I think, last year. Yeah, last year. But this is Emerson, Lake and Palmer Trilogy. And actually, their debut and Trilogy are my favorite of their albums, and this is killer. The second album is all alternate takes. It's really enjoyable. A few of the alternate takes sound just like the originals, but they were remastered. The mastering, they did a great job remastering. I should have done some research to find out who did the masters on this. I'm pretty sure they were released on vinyl too, but these things sound absolutely phenomenal. And then I also ran across the Brain Salad Surgery as well. Although this is probably one of my all-time favorite album covers, I'm just not a huge fan of this album. There's a couple tracks on here that I really do like. I do like Jerusalem. There was one more on here that I really liked too. But as a whole, it's just not as good an album as Trilogy or their debut was. So check that out too. Again, same thing. It's full of alternate takes. And it's got a couple of B-sides from the singles. One thing that is kind of cool is that it's got the actual song Brain Salad Surgery on here, which was a single, a B-side in the UK. It's the namesake of the album. However, it never made it to the final cut of the album, which is kind of interesting. But so that's kind of a cool little addition on the B-side, or on the second disc. Also finally picked up a copy of this as well. I don't know why I've never bought this before, but I've been in a Black Sabbath and Ozzy mood lately. Actually Dio too. I've been listening to a lot of Dio, which I'll show in just a second. But so I've been spinning this quite a bit too, but this is Reunion, and as I'm sure most of you know, just a killer live album. So just a few more to show. Just recently released. I'm going to buy this on vinyl too, but I found the CD for like $5 and went ahead and grabbed it. But this is the recent reissue of Ultra Mega OK from Soundgarden. They did a great job redoing this album. From what I understand, this was the mix, according to Kim Thayil, that they wanted on this album before the label got a hold of it and did their own mix of it. So I think that's really cool. And then you've got the Ultra Mega EP as well, which, if you've been a fan for them for long enough, copies of that have been going around forever. So none of that material was new to me, but it's really nice to have it all in one package. So definitely one I recommend checking out. Again, they did an amazing job on this. Next up, I'm not sure if this one's available on vinyl, but if it is, I want it. Because this is a great show. This is Live in Philly from 1986 from RJD, from good old Ronnie James Dio. And, he just does a great job on here. It's all of his hits. Did he do any Sabbath on here? Nah, it doesn't look like it. It looks like he just did... Yeah, it's just him doing his stuff, but really nice 2 CD set from Eagle Records. Again, another one I recommend picking up. Next up, Deep Purple. This is an album that I never bought for the simple fact that I didn't think Ritchie Blackmore was in the band at this time. Apparently, he came back to the band for this album and then left again 1 or 2 albums later. But this is Slaves and Masters. And man, this album kicks ass. Joe Lynn Turner sounds amazing on here. So does Richie Blackmore. I mean, this album's phenomenal. I would say, other than the song, which one? Fortune Teller, which is just over the top cheese. This album is great. This is one. This may be in my top 5 Deep Purple albums. I've spun this so many times. I just can't get enough of it. And I don't know how I missed out on this album for so long. But if you don't have this one's a must-have in the Deep Purple discography. So just a couple more here. Speaking of Brain Salad Surgery, it's funny. About a week before I found that, I found this copy. This is the best sounding copy of this album I've ever heard. But again, it's not my favorite album from the band. But this is a Japanese pressing of Brain Salad Surgery. And it's in the mini LP format, so it's just like the original. Unfortunately, the Obi was missing. And normally, if the Obi's missing, I don't buy this stuff. But I got a really great deal on it. I think I paid 10 or 11 bucks. And this thing goes for $35 all day long. So I couldn't pass up on that. So you've got the booklet. And then this one is done using, what is it? K2 HD mastering. This was released back in 2008. I don't know what K2 HD mastering means, but it sounds absolutely amazing. Like I said, I have never heard a better sounding version of this CD, and this is one that if you run across, I highly recommend picking up. Again, not worth picking up for 25 or 30 bucks in my opinion, but if you find it for a good price, like I did, I would jump all over it. And again, I love the mini LPs. And speaking of mini LPs, this is another band that I had never heard of, but the album cover looked really cool. So I decided to go ahead and check it out. This is Black Widow 3. Again, a Japanese pressing, a mini LP. And this is just really good prog from the 70s. Really good hard prog. I really dug this. It gets heavy in a couple of spots. Apparently Black Widow's first 2 albums, which was self-titled and Sacrifice, are more in the vein of the, or doomier, more of the in the vein of Black Sabbath. So I really want to find those. And this is one of those bands. Here's the Japanese lyric sheet, and it's got this really cool insert. And then of course you've got the plastic that all the Japanese albums come in. But as much as I like this band, this album, I really want to hear their earlier stuff, especially if it's more in the vein of Black Sabbath. And I mean, these guys came out the same time. This album was 72 or 73. Let's see, it doesn't say on here that I can see what year this came out originally. Let's see if it's on the CD itself. Yeah, unfortunately it doesn't say. But I mean, these guys came out right around the same time. I think their albums came out between 70 and 73. And I've read nothing but good reviews about it, and another one that I recommend you guys check out. But that's pretty much it. Well, actually, I don't know if I showed this. In the background, we're listening to Rough Cut, their self-titled album from '85. Just really good glam metal from the '80s. This too is a Japanese pressing. There's the Obi right there that I picked up a few months ago, again for $6 at that same record store. But that's pretty much it. Oh, you know what? I lied. There's one more. I just ran across this again for $5 or $6. I couldn't believe it. This thing is in perfect condition. But this is the 2006 deluxe edition of Eat a Peach from the Allman Brothers. And this is an absolutely beautiful package. They did such a good job putting this together. Any of these deluxe editions that I see, I buy when I see them used. Again, there's the just like the gatefold from the album. Just killer packaging. And as much as I love Eat a Peach, it is one of my favorite Allman, probably my top 3 Allman Brothers albums. The second disc is awesome. It's the it's got the additional tracks from the final Fillmore East concert on June 27th that weren't released as part of that album, which is awesome. And I didn't realize initially that this was a mixed album. For some reason, I've always thought that Eat a Peach, which I have on vinyl, was a studio album, but it's not. Half of it's studio, and then half of it was recorded live at the Fillmore. So, very cool stuff, though. Highly recommend grabbing this package if you don't have it. Just for the, I mean, any Allman Brothers live stuff from 70 and 70 or 69 to 71 is must-have. It must-have stuff. And they just did a great job with this package. But that's it, VC. I hope all is well. Take care. I should have something up soon. I also just did a special request review on my review site. I'll put a link down below to the newest album, which I reviewed for Punk Texas. It's the new album from Elder. So check that out as well. Take care, everybody.